Broadcasting from Charlotte, North Carolina, on Sports Byline USA, uniting sports fans everywhere, this is Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson.
People want the authenticity, right? They want to know a little bit more. They don't want just the cliches.
For the next hour, we will unpack sports, faith, and life with intriguing guests from the sports and entertainment world.
I'm thankful that God has delivered me, and He's given me a mouthpiece to be able to, a platform as well to be able to share with different people about how good He is.
Bringing you high energy and thought-provoking sports talk with a purpose.
This is about, like, the Lord's blessed this opportunity and becoming, you grow and you learn things.
Now, from his mic to your ears, this is Bryce Johnson.
Welcome to Unpacking It, where we unpack sports, faith, and life with intriguing guests from the sports and entertainment world. I'm Bryce Johnson. We've got a really fun show for you today. A.J. Howard from the New England Patriots is our guest, and he'll give us his thoughts on the big win and what his experience was like. And he actually has a really cool story about how he ended up on the New England Patriots. And it's pretty remarkable with how the last couple of weeks have gone for him and what he was able to be a part of. And then later on today, we'll do our segment, I'm Convinced. And I'll give you my thoughts on what I thought was a boring Super Bowl, but it doesn't mean that it was a bad Super Bowl. And some of the interesting debates and storylines that we're still discussing from that game and from the NFL season. We'll get into that a little bit. And then also, the NBA All-Star Draft was awesome. I thought it was cool. It was short and sweet and not overly produced, but I thought it was a lot of fun. And so I'm excited about next weekend's NBA All-Star festivities, and they'll actually be in my hometown of Charlotte. And so we're gearing up for that and really excited about what will take place next weekend. And so I've got some thoughts on the draft aspect of it and why I thought it was such a cool idea. And then also, what about Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs telling him they didn't really want him playing basketball? So plenty to get into. It's Unpacking It. We're just getting started right here on Sports Byline USA and Sirius XM, Channel 211, Dan Patrick Radio.
Inspiring conversations and intriguing interviews. More Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson after this. Going beyond the field, this is Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson on Sports Byline USA.
Glad you're with us here on Unpacking It. I'm Bryce Johnson. Check out our website, unpackingit.com. You can also shoot me an email, bryce@unpackingit.com. And be sure to subscribe to our weekday email devotional that goes out Monday through Friday. And also be sure to subscribe to our podcast. And joining us now from the New England Patriots, safety, A.J. Howard. He's a former Appalachian State safety, my alma mater. And so I am thrilled to bring on a Super Bowl champion and a former Mountaineer to Unpacking It to talk football, faith, and life. A.J., thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm great. Good to be here.
All right, man. Well, so, of course, the big game took place on Sunday, and the Patriots win. What has this week been like for you? What has the experience been like?
Man, it's been crazy. It's, I guess, anything everyone's ever said about the Super Bowl. It's just an amazing experience.
The cool part about your story, though, is you joined this team late because you spent a portion of the season with the New York Giants and spent the offseason with the Arizona Cardinals. And so share this story with our listeners today because it's fascinating how you ended up with the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I would say fascinating. It's the perfect word for it. It's just like, it was just a blessing. So I was with the Giants for like the last 8 or 9 weeks of the season. And then within like the last week 16, week 17, my agent let me know that it was a possibility that if I ended on the practice squad with the Giants, that the Patriots would like to pick me up for their postseason run, which ended up happening out perfectly, and it was amazing. So happened to go to the Super Bowl and everything. It was just a blessing.
A.J. Howard, our guest right now on Unpacking It, just won a Super Bowl with the Patriots. He's a former Appalachian State safety. And so, all right, take me into what that phone call was like then from your agent to say, hey, the Patriots, they're heading to the playoffs, and they want to add you to the practice squad.
So once I officially found out, I was just sitting there. I was back in New York, and he was like, don't sign the futures contract with the Giants because there's an opportunity in a week that the Patriots will pick you up. So that week later when he called me and told me I was flying out to Foxborough, I was just super excited, man, to be able to be a part of a playoff team and a team that's known to be doing really well around this time of the year.
So here you join the team, they're gearing up for the playoffs. What was that like, and just, how they welcomed you into the team? And, they've been rolling all year long, and they're used to being in the playoffs. They know the drill. And then here you come as a rookie, as an undrafted rookie, coming on the practice squad. What was that kind of, just the first couple of days of them bringing you into the system?
It was a very big change for me, I would say, just because the whole New England way, Patriot way thing, I would say, is actually a thing, just the way they work and how hard they do things, And just to know that they wanted a guy around like me for the playoffs, to me, meant that they thought a lot of me to bring me in. So that was huge.
And so what was it like then, the first kind of conversations or hearing Coach Bill Belichick? Here you are, a rookie, and all of a sudden it's playoff time, and this is the legend with multiple Super Bowl wins. How did you respond to that?
Well, it was crazy. Just in my first meeting there, he introduced me to the team, and I was just like, wow. He was like, he actually knows my name, So it was pretty cool to get that experience. And then even like the week later at practice, he told me he was just glad that I was here and that he thought a lot of me. So that meant a lot to me.
No question. A.J. Howard, our guest right now, just won a Super Bowl with the New England Patriots. And so let the listeners know what it was like being a practice squad member, during the Super Bowl. So you weren't actually on the field, but what was your role leading up to the game, and then even during the game, what was the experience like?
Well, my role was just like during the season, just kind of getting the guys ready, the Brady's, the Michelle's, and all the guys ready for what they're going to see on game day, So we get there to the Super Bowl, and I'm on the sideline just watching crazy things to me, like Brady run out, Belichick run out of the tunnel and stuff, getting ready for the game. And it was just something that just kind of fires you up, even though you aren't playing,
Yeah. So then during the game, you're watching it and witnessing, what's taking place on the sidelines, and then of course on the field. What did you make of the actual game and kind of how it played out, and what were you thinking throughout the game?
Well, just automatically, I was thinking about how the crowd, it was pretty split of 80-20, in my opinion, and everybody else is with, I guess, our fans or their fans. So that was pretty good for us. And then also as the game started to progress, and I guess Brady threw that pick in the first quarter, and everybody should know by now that means nothing at all on how the game's going to go. So defense was just able to put together a really, really great game. Game plan was amazing, and we were able to pull it out.
Wow, absolutely. So what about during halftime? It was a low-scoring game. Neither team really had a ton of momentum. What was maybe said, or what was kind of the attitude coming out in the second half?
Just to keep pushing. I mean, by that time, the defense has still been playing amazing. And it was, of course, only a matter of time before Brady started to click. So it wasn't really much to be said. It was just kind of a keep playing and just keep going, We know we'll break at some point.
That's right. Former App State safety and current New England Patriot, A.J. Howard, our guest right now on Unpacking It. And of course, we as fans, we watched Tom Brady now get his sixth Super Bowl title. As a player and now a teammate, what stands out to you the most about Tom Brady and watching him up close?
I would just say his poise and how everyone around him kind of feeds off of him. So you see he's like never just down in the dumps. If he makes a bad play, he makes a pick, he'll come to the sideline, be like, I'll get it back for us, that kind of deal. So it's just his poise and how everyone just feeds off of him, whether it's us or even the fans. Everybody in the stadium sort of feeds off of Brady as he goes.
And along those lines too, it's Brady is the leader and he's the face for sure. But the Patriots have always been known as it's about the team. Everybody do your job, and we hear the stories of Belichick still having to coach and yell at Brady, and doesn't matter what player it is. And so from your perspective, as a guy new to the team, on the practice squad, how did that kind of play out? Just really that team mentality. What does that actually look like when you're a part of the team?
I mean, I like it for one because it kind of puts everybody in the same bucket, no matter if you're a practice squad player or, Tom Brady. If you're late, there's consequences, things like that, just little things like that, and how everyone kind of gets put on the same path or everything, you know what I'm saying? And then it's just amazing to see it actually be done. And, the rules are set the same for everybody. It's just the perfect way, I would say, to run a team to where everybody's accountable.
That's right. It's the evidence is there. There's no question about it. Well, AJ, cool to hear about the Super Bowl, and I want to go a little bit more into your personal story, your faith journey, and talk a little bit more about what this season looked like even before you got to the Patriots, because you went undrafted out of Appalachian State, and then you made the 53-man roster with the Cardinals. And then you were released like the next day. So how did that play out for you, and what was kind of your mindset like at that time?
Well, I wasn't really able to practice because I was coming off a turf toe injury with the Cardinals, so that they did have to release me because I wouldn't be able to play. So I did a whole injury settlement with them. And then I kind of just kept praying to get on another team, where I did a workout with the Patriots before I went to the Giants. It's basically like almost begging God, like, please let this be the team, that I go to, because I loved everything that it stood for. And then it just so happened to not happen, so I signed with the Giants, which I was completely happy about. It was a great team to go to, a great new start to, my rookie year. And then it just showed at the end how God just had something better for me to pick me up, for the Patriots to pick me up, playoff time, 5 days before their divisional round. So, I mean, it was just a blessing in itself.
We're going to take a quick break, but we are just getting started with A.J. Howard from the New England Patriots, the Super Bowl champs. We've got to hear more about his story coming up right here on Unpacking It.
You're listening to Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson on Sports Byline USA, America's Sports Talk Network. Intriguing guests and inspiring conversations. This is Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson.
I'm Bryce Johnson. Glad to be with you here on Unpacking It. Check out our website, unpackingit.com. You can always email me, bryce@unpackingit.com. You can follow me on Twitter, Bryce Radio. We're in the middle of an awesome conversation with A.J. Howard from the New England Patriots. Such a cool story. He played on the practice squad with the New York Giants throughout the year, and then their season ended, and then the Patriots were able to sign him to their practice squad for the playoff run into the Super Bowl. And so A.J. Howard was a part of the Super Bowl winning Patriots, and he's a former Appalachian State safety, and App State's my alma mater, so a lot of fun talking with him. And so we're going to continue with AJ right now. And AJ, I'm curious to hear more about your rookie season and specifically the transition. What was it like going from the college ranks to the NFL, and what did you just learn about yourself, and in what ways did you mature and grow in your faith and just embrace the new level that you were on?
Well, going on through college, it's kind of just more just being with your buddies and playing with your friends, kind of just like how it is in high school, playing football. And then when you get to the NFL, you see how much of a business it is. And then you just kind of ask God, just to show you the way on how these things work, and just to kind of keep you from any harm or things like that, And he's just been with me the whole way, and I'm just so thankful for it. I mean, the transition to the NFL was amazing. even though the beginning of the rookie year was kind of shaky, I mean, I can't argue with the outcome of how it happened. So it was just amazing.
That's awesome. At what point did you think that the NFL was an option, and what was that process like, just graduating from App and then pursuing the NFL, and at what point did you go, yeah, this is a place that I belong and I can make it here?
Yeah, so in high school, I didn't really think much about playing in the NFL. I just kind of thought that it was a way to get to college, a way to play, college for free and things like that. And then my freshman year, once I started my freshman year, I kind of felt like, okay, like maybe this is something that I could possibly do for a living one day. And I talked to my DB coach, then Coach Sloan, about the NFL and things like that. And he was just kind of giving me the rundown on how he's had former guys go to the NFL and how they've worked through things. So after that freshman year, I kind of figured I had a chance to play in the NFL. And then once the Cardinals sort of gave me that call on draft day, it was just all came to realization.
That's right. And Steve Wilkes, a former App State guy and now the former coach of the Cardinals, but he was the head coach when you went there for mini camp and off season and making that 53-man roster, which is cool as well. And so AJ, though, going back to your time at App State, what was as you look back, maybe the big takeaway from your time there, the things you learned, the ways that you enjoyed the experience of playing college football with the Mountaineers?
I would say just playing with the Mountaineers and just the whole staff I had when I was there with Coach Satterfield, Coach Sloan, Coach Woody, and the strength coach, Coach Mike Siriano, was just being a professional. They really taught me how to be a professional, how to be accountable, and just kind of being an all-around player on and off the field, being that senior role where everybody's looking at you as being the guy to look to for motivation and things like that. Just being a pro in all those kind of ways is what being App State really taught me, which I'm super thankful for because it's paying off now in the NFL.
Well, so you mentioned earlier just how you really felt like, God was with you this year through the excitement of making a roster, getting released, going to the Giants, and then eventually winning a Super Bowl with the Patriots. As you look back on your life, what were some of the defining moments, and when did you really decide that you wanted to pursue God and follow him?
Yeah, well, so many people don't know this, but my dad is actually a pastor and has been for many years now.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, so I've kind of always had that feeling. I can't pinpoint that one time in life,
Yeah.
But I've always had God in my opinion with me throughout all of this, all the decisions I make and every step of my life. I've always had God, and I'm super thankful for that.
So what was that like then, having a dad as a pastor growing up? What was the pressure of that like? But then what were the benefits and advantages to having him as an example?
Many people would say that there's kind of, I guess, pressure there, but he's always taught me, and me and my sister, that he's the pastor of the family. We aren't the pastor, so we don't have to treat ourselves as so. Just be a normal kid and just grow up and through God, and just to keep learning about God, and just to stay within him and everything that you need, just to pray about everything and don't worry about anything. So it's never been any pressure. It's just been a good journey, I'd say, on this faith walk.
Oh, that's great. And what role does he play in your life day to day? And how much do you lean on your dad, even throughout the season, through the ups and the downs?
Yeah, well, so I talk to my dad every day, easily every day, about all of this stuff, whether I had a good or bad practice that day, and he'll sit there on the phone and he'll pray with me and everything. So he's been huge through everything, especially with this rookie season and how a little bit shaky it's been. He's kind of been my motivator and my teacher through all of it.
Oh, that's really cool. Is there anything specific that you feel like God's really been teaching you personally, or anything that you've been studying or really focusing on recently, or even throughout the season?
Well, I would say throughout, I got two parts to this. I would say throughout the season, he's really taught me patience. So when I was telling you, when I was with the Giants, before then, I was really just praying that it'd be the New England Patriots that picked me up. And then he showed me in the end that he had something better for me. I mean, to start there, when it's playoff time, you really couldn't beat that. And then I would say later on, right before the first playoff game, we have a Bible study thing at New England, and we just talked about giving glory to God through all of it. So my biggest thing I would say from here on out is just not making it about me as much as making it about God. So when people see me, it's about seeing God and the things he's done for me, and that it can happen for them too.
Man, that's so cool. A.J. Howard, our guest right now on Unpacking It, former Appalachian State safety, and just won a Super Bowl with the New England Patriots and joined their practice squad just days before the playoffs began for the Patriots. And so, A.J., as the offseason now begins, what does that look like for you?
For me, I would say it's taking about a week or two break and taking some little vacations elsewhere and spending time with family that I don't get to usually do. And then about mid-March, I'll move back up to Foxborough and just start getting ready for this next season coming up, making it the best possible I can.
Yeah, because they signed you to a futures deal, right? What does that entail for you?
So it basically says that I'll be there from now all the way until through camp, God willing, make the team through camp, and then be there for the season coming up.
There you go. That's really cool. So I saw on your Twitter page as well that you got accepted into the NFL NCAA Coaches Academy and one of 30 selected NFL players and coaches. What does that mean, and what are you doing as far as pursuing coaching at some point?
Well, it was one of those things I wasn't able to do because I just got back in town yesterday with the Super Bowl parade and everything like that.
Oh, gotcha.
And those guys were really they were really understanding once I let them know about that. But, so after the NFL, I would love to pick up coaching. With the connections that I've gathered so far, I have a good base of guys who I believe who would trust me to come in and be a coach and help coach their guys, So coaching is my next thing that I want to do after the NFL, for sure.
What draws you to coaching?
Just the part of still being around football, even when you can't play it no more. It's just the love of the game, the faith that comes from it, the family around it. It's just an amazing game to be around, in my opinion, the best in the world. So why leave it if you don't really have to?
All right, so of course I'm an App State alum, and so I've followed and been around the App State football program, and it's a winning tradition. What similarities did you find from your time at App to the last few weeks that you spent in New England watching how the Patriots operate and just the success and the legacy that there is in New England? How do those two programs compare?
It's a great comparison, I would say. Just in previous years with App State winning those 3 national championships back to back, and then going there and winning Sun Belt championships twice, winning bowl games 3 times, and then to go into the NFL first year, get a Super Bowl. It's just amazing to be able to pull off that many championships in such a short amount of time. It's something that a lot of guys just kind of wish for, and I was able to just accomplish it lately, which is amazing in my opinion.
It's pretty sweet, man. 3-0 in bowl games and 1-0 in the Super Bowl. That's strong.
Yes, sir, it is.
Man, so I'm happy for you. Excited to see another App State guy win a Super Bowl, and I really appreciate you joining us here on Unpacking It to talk about the big win and hear a little bit more about your story. And so thanks so much for sharing that with us today.
No doubt, Bryce. Appreciate you having me.
He's A.J. Howard joining us here on Unpacking It, and that was just a really neat story to hear, and I hope you guys enjoyed his perspective because it really was a unique story because he spent time with the Giants practice squad. You get this call from your agent that says, hey, you're going up to New England, get ready for the playoffs. You think maybe your season's going to end, and then you get this opportunity. You go all the way to the Super Bowl. You experience the win. You get to see what it's like to be in the same locker room as Belichick and Brady. That just had to have been a whirlwind experience for A.J. Howard, and so glad that he was able to share some of his thoughts and feelings and takeaways and his rookie season. Really, really wish him the best and hope that he can stick around in New England. It's hard when you're an undrafted rookie to make it and to find the right team, the right fit, the team that believes in you. You find a niche, you find a role. For him to be able to see the Patriots up close and really be a part of something special, even if it was only for a few weeks, you gotta love that to really start off your career. No question about it. So up next, we'll do our segment, I'm Convinced, and I'll give you my thoughts about the Super Bowl and a few other things as well. I'm Bryce Johnson. Thanks for being with us.
Sharing the personal side of sports. This is Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson on Sports Byline USA.
Hey, it's Bryce Johnson, and really appreciate you listening to the Unpacking It radio show each week. But I want to invite you to check out our website, unpackingit.com, so that you can sign up to receive Unpacking It each day in your email. That's right. We send out an encouraging, challenging, inspiring word through email. It's in written form. It's a devotional that takes a current sports story, relates it to the Bible. We call it Unpack This, and you can subscribe for free by going to unpackingit.com. It's designed to help you grow in your faith and help you understand the Bible better, all with a little sports and some of the cool stories going on in the world of sports. And so we encourage you to check it out. It's for you, and it's about 2 minutes each weekday in your inbox. Check it out, unpackingit.com, and subscribe to Unpack This. And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe to our podcast as well.
Bringing you unique insight into the faith and character of guests from the sports world. Welcome back to Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson.
Really appreciate you joining us here on Unpacking It. Hope you're enjoying the show today. If you missed any part of our conversation with A.J. Howard from the New England Patriots, check out our podcast and Apple Podcasts and everywhere else podcasts are found. You can also check out our website, unpackingit.com, and you can get in touch with me personally, Bryce, B-R-Y-C-E, at unpackingit.com. Coming up in our next segment, we always wrap things up with Unpack This, and I'll give a final word on what I think we can learn from the New England Patriots and how they operate. And so before we get to that, though, we've got to get into what I'm convinced of, and we love this segment. We call it I'm Convinced, as I take a look at the week in sports and let you know what I'm convinced of. And so we'll begin with the Super Bowl. And I'm convinced the Super Bowl was, in fact, boring this year. But that doesn't make it a bad Super Bowl. The storylines leading up to it and then coming out of it were excellent. I thought the matchup of Belichick versus McVay, the veteran quarterback, the all-timer, the best Tom Brady going up against a young quarterback that we're still wondering about, and then afterward we're still wondering about Jared Goff and just how good he is. But that matchup was great. The up-and-coming team in the Rams, and then the team that we're used to. And I think the idea that every time New England had been in the Super Bowl, it felt like it was a great game. And so there was so much anticipation going into the game that there was a level of surprise that it turned out to be just lackluster in the ongoing excitement throughout the evening. But I think the fact that New England was able to win with a dominant defense only adds to their legacy. And I think for Bill Belichick, this was crucial for his coaching legacy. And I'll get to that in a moment, because I do think this changed the argument between him and Brady a little bit. But as far as the game goes, I'm convinced that I want scoring and I want excitement. And I don't like punts, and I'm not a big fan of all the defensive stops. Now, one here and there is cool, or a big third down stop or a fourth down stop. Those are great. And if you want to talk about, it was a chess match. Okay, I respect the game of chess, but I don't want to watch chess. That's not, for me as a fan of a fantasy football type of fan, a red zone channel type of fan. This Super Bowl did not fit what we enjoy. People like me as a fan. Now, old school guys, and I was texting with a guy from the old Pittsburgh Steelers teams that won based on defense. Those guys love it, of course. But when it comes to the new age of football and what we thought this league was all about, the big offenses, and then we don't see it in the Super Bowl, it doesn't make sense, and we don't know how to handle it because we were spoiled this year with such great offense. And so we expected that, and then the Super Bowl didn't live up to those expectations. And so, yeah, it was a little boring. But again, it came down to the wire. And we kept waiting for it to turn. I know for me, I kept telling the guys that I was watching it with, oh, it's going to break through any moment. It's going to break through. It's going to break through. So the tension that provided, and there was some level of hope that, yeah, at some point the Patriots have to get this going. They have to score. Todd Gurley's got to break one of these plays at some point, right? And even though it never happened, I think the competitiveness of it was great. And I'm convinced this was a great coaching display on both sides. And I know, there's, of course, some criticism toward Sean McVay and the Rams just because they lost, but they were right in it, and they did a great job to slow down Tom Brady. And this offense, and Sony Michel not really being able to do a ton, or James White doing a ton, like we know they're capable of performing. We've seen it all year long. And so overall, I didn't love the Super Bowl, but I appreciate what we saw, and I'll still take a close game over a blowout every single time. So, all right, the other thing I'm convinced of, this year's Super Bowl gave Bill Belichick a slight edge over Tom Brady when it comes to the big debate of who is more important to the team's overall success and this great run that they've had for almost 2 decades. Now, I personally don't think that one NFL player can affect a game the way an NFL head coach can. And I think that goes toward the advantage for Bill Belichick. And this game showcased the fact that Belichick can design a defensive game plan and really shut down the other team and win a low-scoring game without fully depending on Brady playing an incredible game. Brady was fine. He was solid, made the important throws that he needed to make, and the big throw to Gronk was beautiful and exactly what you want out of your Super Bowl winning quarterback. But this was a defensive game, and this was a coaching matchup. It really was. And Bill Belichick showed everyone why he's the best and really why he's the best coach we've ever seen. And I think in today's sports landscape, his ability to dominate year after year, to do it with different players, different assistant coaches, and in different ways, styles, adjusting to how the sport is changing, but while sticking to a lot of the same principles, he's mastered it. He's the guy. Bill Belichick is the guy. And Brady fit his system perfectly, and we've gone over this so many times, but I think we just saw that the Patriots can win when Belichick is in control and runs his team the way that it needs to run, and Brady doesn't have to do it all. He's not required to make, huge plays, 300 yards, 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. It's not necessary for the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. And again, this goes toward Belichick being the reason. And I think it was secured. And we can feel good about saying Tom Brady's the best quarterback that ever played or the most accomplished quarterback. I think most of those conversations, it's hard to argue against what Brady's been able to do. Again, the longevity and the high level of play that he's kept for as long as he has. And the numbers are there. The clutch plays are there. The wins are there. And then when the debate goes toward how he compares to Jordan as the greatest athlete ever or the greatest athlete of this generation, the Super Bowl confirmed it for me that I'm convinced Michael Jordan is still the greatest athlete of probably a long time, at least from what I've witnessed. And these are slight arguments, and this is what makes sports fun and what makes sports radio great. I still think when we think who's the best athlete that I watched, yeah, it's Michael Jordan. The way that he won championships, the way that he dominated a league, not just in how he played, but he dominated the league in the attention, the marketing, the global explosion that took place, the demand of fandom that surrounded Jordan, and the pressure and all of that Jordan represented. I still think he gets the nod over Brady. I really do. And so it's a fun debate. Would love to know your thoughts. Bryce at unpackingit.com. But after the Super Bowl, I'm going Belichick over Brady. I'm going Jordan over Brady. But I'm still so impressed, and all the accolades are fair for Brady. There's no question about it. All right, my other takeaway. I'm convinced we shouldn't say the Patriots are the best dynasty in the history of sports. You know why? I don't think that word does it justice. I think when we think of dynasty, we think of teams like, we'll put the Cowboys, the 49ers, the Steelers, Alabama, UCLA, the Celtics in that category, and that's all we've ever known. But when you double those types of dynasties in the length of years and the number of Super Bowls and just how difficult it is to win multiple Super Bowls and to go, even after you've lost, to then go back to do it with different rosters. Most dynasties do it with the majority of the same players. The core is there, and they all end up being Hall of Famers. New England, not the case. They don't do it by getting high draft picks. They don't do it by getting a ton of big-time free agents. They pick and choose here and there. They let guys go that are even marquee players like Richard Seymour and Malcolm Butler. They let these guys go. And Deion Branch. I mean, key players at certain times, but they're willing to move on from them. And so I don't know what the word is, but I'm convinced dynasty isn't strong enough of a term to describe the New England Patriots. I think they've exceeded that. I think what they've been able to accomplish to win 6 out of 9 Super Bowls over a 2-decade time frame, it's indescribable in many ways. It really is. And in our lifetime, it's just going to be so difficult to see this repeated. I never like to say never in sports, but this, what they've done, as we look back in the history of sports, they stand alone. They really do. So I think the Steelers have a great dynasty, and the 49ers and Alabama and all that sort of thing. But it's different when you talk about the Patriots. It really is. All right. I'm also convinced we're going to switch gears from the Super Bowl and talk about the NBA All-Star Draft, because I'm convinced the NBA All-Star Draft was a great idea. It was well executed, and I enjoyed tuning in to watch LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo go back and forth, picking players the way we love to pick in fantasy sports. And it's just fun to do that, just whether you're playing Madden or whatever it is. We like to draft. And so for the NBA to embrace this idea for their star players to pick each other like we do in the backyard and playing in the streets and all that sort of thing, it's fun. And to see LeBron target certain guys, I enjoyed going along with it, with him guessing who he was going to pick. And I got a few of them right. But then the idea that we get to mix up the league and you get some different rivalries going, and guys that play on the same current team, like the Warriors, they're now split up with Curry and Durant on different teams. It's awesome. Everything, the way the NBA does All-Star Weekend is excellent, and the way that they added this draft and then showing it on TV was a brilliant idea. And so, again, the NBA wins on that one, and I'm a huge NBA fan and glad that they did that. All right, last one. I'm convinced the Kansas City Chiefs not wanting their star quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, to play basketball is totally fair. At first glance, I think guys should be able to play basketball in the offseason to stay in shape, and you can get injured anywhere. But it's just so unnecessary for a top NFL quarterback to willingly put himself in a situation that could negatively affect his career. So whether it's basketball or motorcycles or snowboarding, all of those things can wait until after your playing career. These teams are paying you way too much money. And if you want to be like every 23-year-old and you want to play pickup basketball and goof around, well, then go right ahead. But you got to give up your big contract, and you got to give up being a franchise quarterback. These are some of the sacrifices that are required for you to be the franchise guy. You can't be playing basketball. So that's what I'm convinced of this week on Unpacking It. Let me know your thoughts, Bryce at unpackingit.com. Up next, we'll do our segment Unpack This about situational readiness.
Inspiring conversations and intriguing interviews. More Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson after this.
Thanks for joining us here on Unpacking It. It's time for our final segment. We call it Unpack This, where I take a current sports story and relate it to the Bible and our own lives. So let's jump right in. After Belichick and Brady's 6th Super Bowl win, many football fans have New England Patriots fatigue. But even though we may dismiss and dislike them, there's a lot we can actually learn from them. There are plenty of principles associated with their continued success that can translate to life, family, business, and even faith. An article on Forbes.com gives great insight regarding leadership lessons to implement, with a big takeaway surrounding the Patriots' strong situational readiness. Forbes.com describes this as being optimally present, knowing what is happening all around you in a specific moment, having the awareness to recognize patterns, enabling circular vision to immediately see the big picture and what can potentially disrupt a strategy or game plan. Clearly, the Patriots are always prepared and ready for anything. They're rarely caught off guard and consistently find a way to adjust the plan. They remain aware and alert to how a game is playing out and respond accordingly. As we look at how the Patriots have mastered situational readiness and have embraced change and overcome adversity, let's be encouraged to incorporate similar principles into our own lives. When we daily place our faith in Jesus while seeking his direction and asking for wisdom, we can be ready to respond well in any situation. The Bible says, be alert, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong. Thankfully, we can also be prepared by noticing when potential disruptions are about to take place. In Proverbs, it says, a prudent person foresees danger and takes precautions. Today, let's be encouraged to keep our own situational readiness rooted in God's wisdom. As we pray and seek his help to empower us to make the right decisions, we can confidently adjust our plans to line up with his. So I really hope you're willing to unpack that. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you'll stay connected with us throughout the week on social media and on unpackingit.com. And until next time, I'm Bryce Johnson, and I'm a sports fan who follows Jesus. I believe in the good news that he died on the cross for my sins. He was resurrected, and through faith, I have been saved by his grace. I hope that is true for you as well, and I hope you'll join me as we live life as sports fans who follow Jesus together. Have a wonderful week. This has been Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson on Sports Byline USA and SiriusXM Channel 211, Dan Patrick Radio.